For our first story, we have Am I the ass for refusing to cook after my BF tried to critique my cooking with a literal PowerPoint presentation? So, this happened a few days ago, and I'm still trying to process it. For context, I, 28 female, have been with my BF, 30 male, for about 2 years. We live together, and I've always done most of the cooking because I genuinely enjoy it, and he claims he can't even boil water without setting off the smoke alarm. The other night, I made one of our favorite meals, and while we were eating, he got a weird smirk on his face. He then says, "You know, I've been taking notes." I laughed, thinking he was joking, but then he said, "No, really. I made a presentation." I still thought it was a joke until he got up, connected his laptop to the TV, and opened a PowerPoint titled, "Improving Our Home Dining Experience." I was in disbelief as he went slide by slide critiquing my dishes. Slide 1. Too much garlic. Slide 2. Pasta consistency. Slide 3. More salt, less sass. The kicker was slide 8, which was just a photo of Gordon Ramsay facepalming with the caption, "What he'd think." I was stunned. I told him if he had such detailed opinions, he should cook himself. He tried to backtrack, saying it was all in good fun, and that he was just trying to help. But I wasn't laughing. I haven't cooked since, and now he's been living off cereal and takeout. He's sulking, saying I'm overreacting and ruining the joke. So, Reddit, am I the ass for refusing to cook after my BF presented me with a PowerPoint critique of my cooking? That's the end of our first post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "Not the asshole greater than he claims he can't even boil water without setting off the smoke alarm. If he had the time to make a PowerPoint, he has time to learn to cook." Our second commenter says, "Holy shit, what a dick. If he can make a PowerPoint about all his complaints about your cooking, he can learn how to follow a recipe like a big boy." Our third commenter says, "Make a PowerPoint presentation about how he can improve his sexual performance. Not the asshole." For our second story, we have Am I the asshole for calling the person who cut themselves a slice of my daughter's personalized birthday cake that was in the shared fridge at work a worthless piece of shit? It's my daughter's birthday this weekend. I had to pick up her birthday cake yesterday before work, so I put it in the shared fridge with the intention to take it home when I knocked off. Although we have had a few incidents with stolen lunches, I didn't think it would be an issue. It was a custom-made birthday cake with my kid's name on it after all. So you can imagine my shock when I went to retrieve my lunchbox from the fridge and noticed that someone had cut themselves a slice of the cake. I lost it and went around questioning everyone, and no one admitted to it. No one saw anything either, and there aren't any cameras in there. I loudly said that whomever the culprit was, they were a worthless piece of shit, but my boss didn't appreciate that. That's the end of our second post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "Not the asshole stealing a birthday cake, that's the rudest thing I can imagine. I would snoop around every desk to find a plate that smells like the cake." Our second commenter says, "Not the asshole. Who does that? Absolutely unmistakably a special cake from a bakery for an occasion. That selfish pig knew it wasn't theirs, ruined it, knew they were ruining it, didn't care. People are awful." Our third commenter says, "Your boss ate the cake." For our last story, we have Am I the ass for asking my stbx husband why I'd take him back when the nanny does more for the family than she link husband and I are separated, getting a divorce. We have a 3-year-old and a 8-year-old. He owns his own business and told me he'd get home at 5:30-6 every night. I get home at 6-6:30, so I never thought anything about him always getting home before me. I had our 3-year-old in extended care at daycare and 8-year-old in her school's after-school program because I believed he was working. Halfway through the school year last year, I hired a nanny instead of the extended care programs after our oldest had problems with her program. I got a call from the nanny about 2 weeks in, saying my stbx husband locked them out and was telling her to take them to the park, but the kids were hungry and she didn't have car seats. His house is walking distance from school and daycare, so she didn't need car seats. I called him and he said he got home early and wanted some space from the kids and didn't want a random 18-year-old in the house. I had to leave work early to let the kids in. While I was talking to the nanny, she told me he was always home when she got home with the kids and that he was always difficult, demanding that she and the kids stay in one of the kids' rooms, ignoring the kids if they tried to talk to him, getting mad at her for leaving the room for a snack. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I filed for divorce by the end of the next week and the kids and I moved out by the end of the next month. I ended up letting go of that nanny and now we have Amina, 24. Amina is a Middle Eastern refugee with 3 kids of her own, 2, 4 and 7. Hiring Amina is one of the best decisions I've ever made. I get to come home every day to a clean house, homework done, and some of the best Arabic food I've ever had. I have no idea how she manages to do everything, but having her around means I get to enjoy my time with my kids, instead of trying to make dinner, clean up, and get my 8-year-old to do her homework. She does the grocery shopping, keeps track of school events, and even handles things like clothes shopping for the kids and school supply shopping. My stbx never did any of that. I once left him with the kids for a week while I went on a work trip. They lived on McDonald's and pizza, which wreaked havoc on my 8-year-old's stomach. The house was in the worst shape I'd ever seen it. Our 2-year-old, at the time, ran out of clean clothes and he bought her new clothes instead of washing her dirty clothes. My stbx has been asking about getting back together. He says us being together is better for the kids. I told him he's never thought about what's good for the kids. Even when he takes them for the weekend, all they do is go to grandma's house. I asked why I should go back to him when Amina does more for us than he ever did. He argued that he works to provide for us but thought it was different from me also working, apparently close to double the hours he worked and for similar money. Now his family is accusing me of being a bad mom and saying if I cared about the kids I'd want them to have 2 parents. Am I the ass? That's the end of our last post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "Not the asshole, I personally would marry Amina." Link. A neglectful, abusive parent is worse than a single parent. Ask any child psychologist. What you're describing is not laziness, it's straight out abuse. You can lose your kids if CPS had been called in the last situation. You really need to think about the kids and not what society told us about what's good for the kids. Our second commenter says, "I know I'm a complete stranger, but I just wanted to say I am so fucking proud of you. I tell women almost every day, staying with a man who neglects you, neglects your kids, and neglects your home is not worth it. Staying in a toxic relationship sets a terrible example for your children, and teaches your sons to grow up to be lazy and neglectful as well. Mine and my daughter's lives were so much happier and easier once I left my ex and hired a nanny. You've made the right choice in standing up for yourself and your kids." Our third commenter says, "You do not have to give a reason to anyone for not wanting to reconcile. If they insist, then, I found that I am happier, the kids are more stable, and our lives run more smoothly as things are right now. That's it. No one is owed an explanation for your decision, not even the stbx." That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.